Krieger has said that weapons is about trauma and how people deal with trauma. In August of 2021, Zach Krieger lost his good friend and fellow Whitest Kids You Know co-star Trevor Moore. Moore fell from his balcony and died on impact. Toxicology reports said that alcohol was involved. If you know anything about trauma, you may have heard about the 5 F's of trauma response. I joked that I could have had a psychology minor in college had I postponed graduation and took a few more classes. Instead, I have an almost minor in psychology. According to my almost minor in psychology, the 5 F's of trauma response are fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and flop. While no two trauma responses are identical, these are the recognized ways in which people typically respond to trauma. Clearly, Krieger was affected by his friend's passing, and he has channeled that grief, that trauma, into weapons by personifying each of the traumatic responses as a character. And that's likely the final and most clever reason the movie is told in the way it is. Each character, or each trauma response, is given its own vignette. Check it out. Archer, played by Josh Brolin, represents the fight instinct. He is unwavering in his pursuit to find his son. Nothing will stand in his way. Someone who is in fight mode will hyper-fixate on the trauma. Archer is sleeping in his son's bed and watching the last video recorded of him running away over and over again. Justine, Julia Gardner, is flight. Flight isn't simply running away from trauma. It's described as panic, worry, rumination. People in flight mode often sink themselves into work or other distractions to take their mind off of the trauma. Justine specifically asks to remain at work, but the school she works for sends her home nonetheless. Paul, the cop, is, in my estimation, freeze. A freeze response is characterized by disassociation, anger, numbness, being stuck in a situation and helpless to change that situation. Paul is stuck in his relationship and in his job. He has a short fuse, as we see with the drug addict kid. He has shut down and is just phoning it in. I'm talking specifically about the scene in the car with Justine when she mocks him and the precinct for being blasé about finding the kids. Alex, the only child in the class that didn't disappear, represents Fawn. He's held captive by his Aunt Gladys and charged with taking care of his parents and the other trapped kids. Fawning is people-pleasing, codependency, identity confusion. Dealing with trauma in this fashion often leads to Stockholm Syndrome. And the 5th trauma response is flop. Flop is surrendering for safety, going limp, loss of physical control. Everyone that Aunt Gladys brings under her spell represents flop.